Yo, 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 yo! Welcome back to another podcast. Look at that. 2 in 24 hours, baby. You see how it's going? It's because there's some YouTube beef, YouTube drama, and I just like talking about stuff like this. And it doesn't happen too often in our scene, in the car scene. So for anybody that is new to the podcast, welcome. My name is Adam, and I am going to be the voice in your ears for the next few minutes. Yesterday, day before, yesterday, about this time yesterday, actually, I filmed a podcast on Chris Harris's tweet. Chris Harris from Top Gear's tweet. This is the stage that I'm at in my life. But anyway, I filmed a podcast on Chris Harris calling out an influencer on the behaviour between said influencer and Litchfield, the tuning company. I have filmed this one podcast already. But the second I finished filming it, someone had left a comment on that podcast where I spoke originally, and they said, "Have you heard the Collecting Cars podcast?" And I was like, fuck, like, I feel like I can't put this out in the world without having all of the information and all of the various sides. So just for transparency, let's get the timeline out. So Chris Harris posted a tweet. If you want me to go over that again, I can. But Chris Harris posted a tweet that basically called out Chris Harris. Let's get this up right now. Called out Mr. JWW. That's what it was. And I think it was a bit of a light-hearted, bit of poking fun at. I think the thing is, because Chris Harris is such an established YouTuber, established TV personality, established writer for car magazines. He's very trusted. I know a lot of car guys, including myself, hold his opinion high when it comes to cars. And, you know, when I drove that GR Yaris, all I could think of was, wow, I can't wait to hear what Chris Harris thinks of this, because I want to know if it's almost in tune with how I see this vehicle. Like, it was just like one of those, like, I look up to him, I guess. I really, obviously, look up to him. On the flip side, I also have to be completely open. I used to love Mr. JWW's YouTube channel. Obviously, there's so much going on in the world, and there's so many videos on YouTube, and there's just so much happening in my life. Privately, I just don't have time to sit and watch all the YouTube channels I used to watch. So I've kind of lost track a little bit. I think when it started to go into the hypercar world, it kind of disconnected from me. So for anybody that doesn't know, Mr. JWW is a YouTuber, a big YouTuber as well, and I think he has a column on Yahoo as a writer. So he's got a well-established gentleman in himself. Or he's well-established himself in the media, the aftermarket media game. But anyway, Chris Harris's original tweet. I'm gonna read it out again, just for you know, I can't think of a word. Anyway, just so it all makes sense. An influencer just offered my pal at Litchfield UK the chance for him to put suspension on his GR Yaris for free and pay him £25,000 for the privilege, plus a percentage of future sales. He knows who he is. Might tell you his name one day. Shameful. I then, in my timeline of things, saw Mr. JWW's response, but I didn't know Collecting Cars had done a podcast with Litchfield. And so the first one of these where I spoke, I'm going to do it again now. Broke down the post that Mr. JWW did. Within that we'll go over all of that shortly. But Chris Harris and Litchfield briefly go over the whole situation on the Collecting Cars podcast, and the whole thing that basically TLDR. Chris Harris is saying, I don't take cars that seriously. The car world is a bit of fun for me. You know, it's not that serious. You know, I've never really took a brand deal to be posting about something. You know, he did a headphone thing where he didn't get paid, but everyone thought he did. All this malarkey. But the main part and parcel that I took out of that, because I've also watched Misha's video, Misha from the Nürburgring, from the Apex Taxi guys. I watched his video on it. And, sorry, my dog's decided to come and sit next to me and lick himself whilst doing this. Just chill out, bro. So I watched Misha's video, and then I listened to Chris Harris's podcast, or the Collecting Cars podcast, to get a real insight with Ian at Litchfield, to understand from his point of view what had happened. So I'm just trying to work out how to talk about this with you guys so it all makes sense. Ian at Litchfield basically has said a couple of times now publicly that he's heard the recordings of the phone call, and the influencer in question, whoever represents him, was almost arming them into saying, like, look, this is what it is. If you want this deal, this is what it is. It's this amount of money. We get X amount for this and that and this and that. Mr. JWW has come back, and I'm going to read out his statement now. And it's quite long, but we're going to go through it and just kind of pick it apart and see what facts line up, what doesn't line up, and what I might believe is going to be damage control. I'll give my little insight into this. So, Mr. JWW has put on his Instagram, "Hey everyone, looks like we have a few things to clear up. I want you, the community, to know that, despite false claims being circulated against me, I have never spoken to the tuning company in question. Neither have I indulged in, and nor would I ever endorse the practices highlighted in these claims. The facts are simple. An agency employed by me had various exploratory conversations with the company dating back to last year. There was no cold call from anyone working for me. Telephone conversations began with a call to my agent following a receipt of an email from an agent. Sadly, the way this was initially framed to you by the third party paints an inaccurate picture. I am told, and I believe, the contents of these conversations were very different from the way they've been portrayed. I haven't posted for a few days because I like to gather all the facts before reacting. That includes the instructions from my lawyers. For the record, I do enter into commercial agreements to fund the channel, and I'm proud of the brands I partner with to allow to keep us bringing you the great content. When partnering with brands, I make this clear within the content. I only ever do so with the commercial agreement is beneficial to both the channel and to the client. I have also for many years supported businesses for no charge. I will continue to do so when I feel it's in the interest of the community to share my love for their products. I've invited the third party involved to join me on a podcast. I'd like to address the situation in person in the interest of total transparency on my part. I believe this is what the audience deserves. Many thanks to those of you who have been supportive in questioning the bias and inaccurate story. Equally, I have empathy for the audience who have been less kind to me, understanding that you were reacting to misinformation you were served. The cyberbullying crisis is having a devastating effect on young men. Cyberbullying can happen anywhere at any time of the day or night. It's crucial that social media companies start taking firm action to stop cyberbullying. Seek help if your mental health is suffering." And that's the end of that. And he's got lots of support on there. A lot of people just saying how great he is. It's just a typical reaction from fan bases. I fully get it. But I wanted to go through some of this and then look at the reaction of Ian and Chris and just kind of put my 2 cents in from like a small YouTuber, a smaller channel that I do get some brand deals, and I don't believe everything that Mr. JWW has said. First off, I think we need to really look at this in a sense of why Mr. JWW isn't checking on what the company that he has employed or the deals they're brokering in depth. That's one thing that worries me. Because Ian at Litchfield has said they've got a recording of whoever it was that called up. They've got it on record. They have a phone conversation explaining their side. Mr. JWW is basically saying, well, the agency's told me that they haven't done this, so I'm going to believe them. Which is weak, man. Like, that's not right. Looks like we have a few things to clear up. I certainly do think you have a few things to clear up, and I don't think you've cleared them up at all. Despite false claims being circulated, already, like, false claims. I've never spoken to the tuning company in question. But then later on he says, we've been having conversations for over a year, or from last year. So that doesn't add up. I mean, you might not have directly, but your agency, you have now said, certainly has, which now doesn't line up with your statement already. There was another bit that the agency employed by me had various exploratory conversations with the company backdating to last year. There was no cold call from anyone working for me. Well, that is very different to what Litchfield is saying. That's very different to them saying they have the phone call. So I'd be very interested to see if this escalates, because it's a very, very confusing situation. As an outsider looking in, this is very weird. There's no cold call for anyone working. I am told to believe, and I believe the contents of these conversations were very different from the way they had been portrayed. So instantly, I am told. So he doesn't know, and I believe So he's basically saying he trusts this agency. Now, if I end up dead in the next few weeks, have a look at his agency, because what I'm about to say, I think that they are potentially doing some very dodgy stuff. So if that's how they're portrayed in business, or how they are working in business, they could be very, I don't know, they could be very dangerous people running it. I think there's a lot of dangerous people in the industry trying to take advantage of people and businesses, and I think this is definitely going to be one of those situations that this is happening. I haven't posted for it in a few days because I like to gather all the facts before reading. No. What you've done is you've got all information that lines up with what you want the storyline to be. For the record, I do enter into commercial agreements. Obviously, you're a YouTuber. Everybody does. We all have the ability to sell ad space in our videos, in our Instagrams. It's a very, very cool thing as a YouTuber coming up when you start getting brand deals offered to you. They're only going to be crap ones. They're going to be like little things where it's like, oh, we'll give you this from that, and but it's exciting. It's like, holy shit, my work is being valued by somebody. It's cool. That's sick. But when partnering with a brand, I like to make it clear within the content. Yep, we legally have to. Don't act all high and mighty. Legally, we have to. We're not allowed to pretend we're not getting sponsored. You have to click that little button that says this is paid content. I am being paid to say this. You have to put that. Even on Instagram, if I put a story up of, let's say, Manscaped, who are sponsoring a video in the future for me, I have to put #ad if I'm being paid for that Instagram post. So this is not him being like, oh yes, I always do that. We have to. This is just, it's like you have to breathe to survive. You have to do this, or otherwise you could face legal ramifications. I only ever do when the commercial agreement is beneficial to both the channel and the client. Bullshit. That's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit straight away on that. As an influencer, if a brand offers you a deal and it is financially very, very good for you, and you think, oh, I don't think they're going to benefit that much from this, but you're like, fuck it. I've got bills to pay, like that, you'll take that deal. Like, even if you think like, oh, I don't think my audience are really going to react that well to this. Like, I'm not going to turn down money. Are you sure? Come on. The only time I ever turn it down is when I think the value that they're offering me outweighs the bullshit, if that makes sense. So if I see a product, so like as you may have ever seen on my YouTube channel, I've never done one of the cheap coilover deals because I think the product's fucking shit. And to get the money, you have to basically go, oh yeah, these are really good value for money, when they're not. Like so, I will potentially fit something in my car in the future, but I'm gonna buy them. So I'm gonna be honest, that's the facts. I think it all depends on what you're in this for. And I think JWW is obviously a passionate car guy. I've watched his videos for a long time. I've watched them since, way back, since he was in triple figures, in 6 figures for subs. We're talking, I've been there for a long time. I really like Mr. JWW. I really like Chris Harris. I really like Litchfield, but I'm going to go into a bit more of this soon as we go through this. I invited the third party involved to join me on a podcast. Of course you have, because you know it will equal views, and you will be able to twist it to make you look great in this situation. I completely understand that. I believe this is what the audience deserves. No, you just know the audience will click it. You know the audience will click it, and clicks equal views, and, blah, 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 blah. Many thanks to you that have been supporting me in the questioning, blah, blah, blah. Thank you to everybody that blind follows me. I appreciate that. I have empathy for the audience. Oh, I'm so much better than you up here in my ivory tower. I have empathy for you because you believe the bullshit. No, sorry, just because some of us question facts that may, I've questioned Chris Harris's, like I said in the original one, I was like, why would he do this? Do you know what I mean? This is so weird for someone that is in such a high power position. But then I remembered that Chris Harris, at his heart, is a car guy. And a guy that is involved with car tuning and is involved with racing and gets his hands dirty and builds his cars. And I think as someone that is involved in all of this myself, heavily, like I live for modified cars, man. They are one of my favorite hobbies that I have. It is a lifestyle choice almost for me. Like, I'm deep in this, and I can understand why you'd make that initial knee-jerk reaction and go, what the fuck? Because in our world, in the non-hypercar world, I'm not going to go as far to say the supercar world. I think that there are some fantastic. I think if you can afford a supercar and you've worked hard and you've got your money, even if you haven't worked hard and you've got a supercar, sick. Congratulations. I think it's so dope that you have a car like that. I love these cars, but I also believe there's a very different culture from someone that has never modified a car before and has never lived in the world that the masses live in. I'm not going to say the normal world, because to them that is normal. So someone that has to slave away in their unit in the freezing cold, cutting their hands up, trying to learn how to put stuff together. You put the wrong bolt in a hole and it snaps, and you're like, wow, what do I do now? You know, like you build a real a passionate affection with these vehicles of just like, you're in this together, you're a team. And then you might reach out and you branch out to a tuning house or a modified shop, you know, a shop that modifies cars, or workshop, and be like, boys, I'm struggling, I need some help with this, I'm at my limit, I do not know where to go from here, can you please help me? Obviously I need your advice, I'll bring it up to you, just charge me whatever it is, and we'll go with it. I just want my car to work. You know, your car becomes almost your identity, because when you're modifying cars, it's like an art. It's like art to me. You have a blank canvas and you can do whatever you want, however you want to express yourself. Whereas in Mr. JWW's video, from what I understand, when he relaunches the GR Yaris, he says this is his first ever step into the modified car world. Now, I think maybe there's a little crossover in worlds here. So you've got a very wealthy man in Mr. JWW. You've got someone that probably does have a lot of companies that have huge advertising budgets. I've just one brief look on his Instagram. You can see he works with Tag Heuer or whatever that watch company is that costs a fortune and stuff. The level of money that is going to be involved in advertising with this guy. I know of another influencer that has a very expensive watch deal, and I know he's on $5,000 a month just to wear their watches, and he doesn't even get huge views, man. So like that, to me, it's like, wow, there's obviously a lot of cash being thrown around, and I believe it's all through the agencies. I don't actually believe these influencers, these YouTubers, have any say in what they get. I believe they have agencies that are arranging these deals. I also believe they have agencies that Ian from Litchfield said it felt like when you're watching the phone call back, it feels like you're watching a window, like a double glazing salesman talk to an old lady. Now, I know exactly what he means by that. Surely you must have seen them like dodgy cowboy shows, you know, the cowboy builder shows and stuff like that. I understand exactly what he means by that. So it's like real forced selling, where it's real, like you lean in on them, and you it's really not a honourable way to do business. It's modern. It's modern day bull. You know, it's like it's a con artist almost. That's basically what you're doing. You're conning people out of their money to give it to you with no real benefit back to them. So instantly, that I believe that's why he said this whole thing where I only try and do this if it's beneficial for the client and the channel, because that's just not true. It's not true. Where the confusion comes from is, I believe, and what annoys me is I actually said all this in the first podcast that I said, but because I said some stuff that isn't facts and was just opinion, I wanted to not put that one out because I was wrong on a few things after going over it. So I don't want to be putting wrong information out into the world, and I was just like, okay, let's really look at this. But Chris Harrison that said very similar things what I'm about to say, but I believe this wholeheartedly, and this was my thoughts before I heard it come out of their mouth. In the tuning scene, you become very, very close with the people that you rely on to make your car run and work. Normally, you will, if you find a guy with a modified car that they've had it mapped, they've had it tuned, they've had bits fitted to it at a garage, they have a tuning, a sourcing house, a modified car sourcing house place like myself at 621 that they'll come to religiously and just be like. So I have customers now that I've had for 12 years or message me be like, Az, I need one of these, can you get it? They don't even know if I can supply the part. They just ask me first because they've had great experience with me. They want to carry on working with me. They will proudly rep my stickers on their car, and they'll buy the stickers too. They'll buy stickers to rep my brand, which is such an honor. Like, as the guy on the other side of stuff, it's like when you walk around a car show, when you go to a car meet, when you're anywhere, and you see, or even just driving along, and you see one of the cars of the people that you supply stuff to repping your brand because they're so happy with what you've done for them. It touches you, and like you're like, wow, we're cool, you know. I've got their best interests at heart always. They've always got mine at heart, and it's a true friendship. And I'm gonna go as far to use myself as an example again, because like I said, I'm involved in this shit. This is what I do. This is what I love. I had never ever worked with Evolve Motorsport before. Matt is a guy that I've known for a long time through the drifting. I think we met through the photography and the drifting and just bits and pieces like that, and Hondas and all this sort of stuff. Matt that works for them, that helps them with their YouTube stuff. Like, he works for them. He works full time for them. Does their social media and stuff like that. He got in touch and he said to me, "Ads, we need to do something on your M3. I think it'd be really cool to do, like, you come have some work done on it here." And at the time I just couldn't really afford anything, but I was like, "Keep in touch. Let me know what you think." And he come to me with an offer, and he said, "If you will, what we'll do for you is if you do the stage 2, we can work a deal out where you get the stage 2 and the stage 2 remap and the downpipes done and all that sort of stuff for free, as long as you're willing to pay for the rod bearings to be done, because I needed to have my rod bearings done anyway. I wanted the rod bearings done on M3, and I basically just said, like, that's fine. That sounds like an amazing deal, because they've offered that to me. They've said, would you like this? We will need paid for the rod bearing bit that you want doing, but we can include this as well if you do a video with us. And I was like, that sounds fucking sick. Like, I would have probably, don't tell Imran, I probably would have ended up paying for the stage 2 stuff anyway, because I'm very easily convinced with stuff, and I think that's I think they realised that, and that's why they bought that M3 in with that carbon plenum thing, the Evolve Venturi intake. And now I'm like, how do I afford one of these? You know, it's one of those things, how it works, because now with Imran Evolve, I had never ever met him before. I had never spoke to him before. I had no connection with him before. But now I see him as somebody that I really care about. I spent the day at the unit, and this is the thing with modified stuff. A lot of the time, you want to be there and just watch your car getting worked on and be like, watch it be transformed. Whereas obviously Mr. JWW has only bought this Yaris as content. He doesn't actually want to step into the modified car world. He doesn't. This is obviously a plot to get more relatable with some of his viewers. Because they have like Paganis and Koenigsegg and all this on their channel, which is just, this is what lost me. I was like, well, I can't afford this. Do you know what I mean? I'm just watching some rich boy play around with him now. This doesn't really seem that fun. That was really what it was. Like I said, no animosity towards him at all, because I actually don't. I don't believe he has actually got anything to do with this. I genuinely believe it is the agency that he has employed. And I also believe that if I was him, I would be sitting with them right now, regardless of this corona shit. I would go to their office and I'd be like, I want to know all the other deals that could have potentially been done that you are profiting out of that I don't even know about. Now, what I'm saying is that agency could have been saying to them, yeah, we need this amount of sales, we need this amount, and we want this amount of money for the after sales of the product. But they may never pass that on to JWW. He may never know about that. Now, I'm just speculating on everything here, because obviously as a YouTuber, I class myself as a YouTuber, not an influencer. I try and say that I am not an influencer. Do not copy me. I'm a bad influence. Okay, like I believe in sharing positivity. Good, do that. I believe in kindness. Good, do that. I believe in fairness, and everyone should have their own fair chance. And you know, hard work equals the payoff. Hopefully, one day for everybody. But I don't want to influence anybody, and I don't buy the cars that I have, because that's a bad idea. If anything, I'm trying to suggest stuff to you and be like, hey, look, if you have an M3. If I was you, I'd take it to Evolve, because they're the titty bang. You know, if you had a GTR and you said, where would you take your GTR? I'd probably say take it to JM Imports or Litchfield. Like, Litchfield are the top doggies, but there's two or three other places that you could go to. You know, and it really is down to the relationships you build with these people, and that I think that's where this crosses over, because really what this is from the outside looking in, you see a very, very rich man coming into the tuning industry, which for the most part, not many people are rich. You know, like for the most part, we all do what we can within our limits. You know, it's like, look how long it's taken me to build my Sylvia, man. Like, with all due respect, like if I was rich, that car would have been done in a week. I'm now 3 years in and it's still not got an engine in it. So we're getting there, but that's the real life side of car tuning and modifying. I feel like JWW should have held his hands up and been like, look, I really don't know what was said. I need to hear this phone conversation. I think that this is the problem. Like, it just seems like he's siding with his agency, saying, no, I'm sorry. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I believe these guys. I believe the guys that are paying me, that are putting all the money in my pocket. Which, of course, he's got to protect his business interests, but I feel like this could have been much better handled. I think Chris Harris is just funny. The way he did it, the call out. It's jokes, mate. You're holding someone to account for their dog shit behaviour, and unfortunately, Mr. JWW, you can palm this off all you want, but if this is the company representing you and your brand, you have to take some responsibility. If you do this podcast, I look forward to hearing it and seeing you weasel your way out of this, because I don't believe you're as innocent as you're making out, and if you are, like, fair enough. But you need to change that agency, bro, because you can't be having people going around strong-arming companies that they profit out of that you don't even see that money, bro. You could be missing out on mad money here. Mad money. And I'm not against everyone making money. Obviously, we all want to make a bit of money. We all want to be able to pay our bills and pay our, mortgages and build our cars and buy more cars and go on holidays. And that's what we want. But not like this, man. This is like almost like a gangster type approach to... Yo, we're here now in the car scene, and if you want us to work with us, you're gonna have to really, we're gonna have to take some stuff if you want us involved. Well, guess what? We don't care if anyone's involved or not, because this is a lifestyle to most of us. If tomorrow it wasn't cool to modify cars anymore, I would still be doing it, because this is all I know. All I know, even in here, I've got my Civic up there. I've got an AE86 inside my computer, a Honda S660 over here on the side. I've got skateboards all up the wall of modified cars. You can see that on the script, the YouTube channel. You can see I've got modified cars all up the walls. Yeah, this is my life. This is what I do. Modified cars is what we are. And I feel almost like it was almost like an insult. When we all saw that, it was like an insult. Like, oh, for you to want to be in our world, you need to get paid for this and then get financially reimbursed every time someone sells a set of coilovers. I also touched on this in the first one. How many GI Harrises do you think are actually being sold, bro? There isn't that many. Like, this is ridiculous. If you realize, I just feel like this is really like the wrong way of it going about it. I feel like JWW really needs to look at his agency that are working with him. Because I fully believe the Litchfield guys, I believe they have no reason to do this. And listening to that podcast that he did with Chris, maybe believe him even more, because he was like, look, we've worked with BTCC drivers, we've worked with Sam from Seeing Through Glass, and no one's ever been a problem. We like working with influencers, it's fine, but don't take the fucking piss. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like JWW is a fish out of water. And I think in the supercar world, he probably does have huge deals. You know, like, oh, you own lots of Koenigseggs, do you? Okay, cool. Well, here's a £10,000 watch and 50 grand. Go tell everyone how good it is over a Rolex. You know, it's a very shady industry, this anyway. And this is, I don't know. I think this is probably why I struggle with collabs and stuff like that. Like, because I just can't buy into the bullshit, and I find it so hard to fake it as well on camera. Like, you can probably see in videos gone by where I've done stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can't help myself, man. But the bit that really fucks me off about his response is the last paragraph. So, the cyberbullying crisis bit where he talks about bullying and cyberbullying. Bro, right now, you are the face of a shady fucking attempt at forcing a fucking company to give you a shit ton of money, right? You cannot be a cunt and then cry fucking bullying when people call you out for being a cunt. It's not how it fucking works. That is not how it fucking works. Hold your hands up, be like, fuck, I fucked up. Our company fucked up. We're really sorry you approached it like this. We do run it like a business. We were trying to get fucking paid. And everyone would have been like, all right, you're holding your fucking hands up. Dude, it ain't how it works around here. If you want to be involved in all this shit, fair play. We would love to show you the ropes on modifying cars, but these guys over here have perfected something, so you pay them for their services. We all pay our way in the modified world, man. We all pay our way. And I think that's where these supercar, hypercar guys that maybe come in, and I'm not bracketing all supercar owners like this, by the way. I know some fantastic people with supercars that are honourable and lovely, and they're hard-working guys that have made it big, and they've now got their dream cars. One of my local friends owns a McLaren 600 Longtail, and he literally rang me a few months back when the lockdown wasn't on. It was like, Ads, you've just got to come out and experience this car. So I went round, we were chilling out, we were chatting, he was asking me about my Silvias and my Civics, like, he used to have Starlets back in the day, you know, like, there's a lot of these dudes that don't live a very privileged life before making it big, whereas I feel like this gent, Mr. JWW, does, and I feel like he doesn't really know the full world of the modifying car industry, and I feel like that's the problem. I think obviously there's rivalries, there's beefs, there's people that won't talk to each other in the car world, in the modified car world, but for the most part, we all have each other's back, and for the most part, not everyone. There's certain brands and businesses I will never mention ever again. There's certain garages and tuning places that I wouldn't care if they went under. Like it'd literally be like, oh well, you know, you get what you reap what you sow. But because I've always paid for everything, and I've never asked for discount anywhere that I've taken my car for work. The only place that I did a deal with is OMW Tuning, and that's because Owen is an old school friend of mine. I've known Owen over 25 years, and Max I've known over 20 years, and they're both cousins. It's a family thing, and Owen offered to fit my suspension and brakes on my M3 for free in exchange for a video, because he was panicking that I was going to do it myself, and he was like, this car's too expensive and the brake kit's too expensive for you to fit these wrong, please let me do it. I'm glad he did, because we couldn't get the rear bushings out, bolts out of rear bushings, and they managed to do that for me, so that was like amazing. So like this is I think the thing is, Mr. JWW needs someone like me. He needs someone that is in the tuning world, and he could just message me and be like, dude, I really want to modify my GR Yaris. How do I approach this? And I'd be like, don't send your fucking dodgy agency over there asking for 25 grand and for a percentage of all sales on coilovers, because it ain't watches and yachts we're selling now, bro. It's coilovers. There's not much money in these. So, you know, like, I'm not able to buy a mansion from selling some BC Racings. Like, do you understand where I'm coming from with this? I'm trying to keep this as level-headed as I can, because I could get really passionate about this and really angry, irately angry, but at the same time, I don't believe Chris Harris meant anything horrendously negative by it. I think he just gave it the real car guy response of like, you see what this fucking clown's trying to do? But I think on the other hand, JWW is the businessman here. He is doing this for business. All right, he gets to play around in some hypercars, but who the fuck wouldn't want to do that shit? Like, let's not lie. If someone said to me, Adam, we're going to give you like £5 million to go and rent a unit and just drive hypercars around the track all day, do you think I'd still be in my unit doing my shit cars? Fucking course I would. I'd still be in my unit doing my shit cars after I was doing these fucking dope cars. And that's where it is. And I think the problem is when you see a modified car that has no heart, no soul, and it's just dropped somewhere, and can you just do the package and I'm going to take it away? You kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, it looks good, but like, where's the character? Where's the uniqueness? Where's your style? You know? That's where I'm going to leave it. I'm trying to like wind it back a little bit on this account, because after listening to the Collecting Cars podcast, I think that it's up to JWW and his terrible agency team to put it out there what it actually happens. They need to drop this fucking virtue signaling bullshit with the bullying stuff at the end, because you do not get to act like this and then, or have your agency act like this and then start claiming bullying when someone calls you out on it, because that's all you've been called out on your fucking dodgy shit. That's all it is. There's no personal attacks here. I'm not wishing bad on you. I wish everyone success, like, except for maybe like 5 people that I know. There's like 5 people that I hope never have success, because I think they're absolute pieces of shit. But yeah, other than that, I wish everyone success. And like I've said before in previous bloody podcasts, I like JWW's content from back in the day. I haven't really caught up with it recently, but I'm sure I would enjoy it if I watch it. And for complete transparency, I don't watch Top Gear because I don't like Freddie Flintoff. I think anyone that believes the world is flat needs to just fuck off, find the edge of it and jump, because I can't believe they promote these sort of fucking values. But that I don't watch Top Gear. I haven't watched Top Gear. I would watch Top Gear though. I just don't actively sit down on a Sunday night and watch it. If I had it on the BBC iPlayer and I need something to watch, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll watch it. Top Gear. I love Chris Harris, but they upload all of the clips on YouTube, so I can just watch the Chris Harris stuff on YouTube without having to watch all the other shit, you know? So, for complete transparency, I'm not on either side here, but I'm definitely more on Litchfield's side. I'd love for JWW to drop the fucking bullshit and just be like, here it is. This is what actually happened. I'm fucking sorry. This is bullshit as well. I'm sorry. Does anybody want to work with me on this? Even if it's just giving me advice on what to do. Because the problem is now, how can he go to Litchfield now? Otherwise, or are they going to turn this around and make this like, oh, JWW's fucking Yaris GR's going to Litchfield to be tuned, and yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to sign out here, guys. Cheers for listening. Make sure you hit subscribe for the next one. I'm out. Peace.